What actor or actress stupidly left a movie franchise or TV series thinking they were too good for it, only to be never popular again? Terrence Howard was in Iron Man 1 and was going to become War Machine. This was the very start of the Marvel movies, the MCU. He got bounced, I think, for asking for crazy money. Don Cheadle replaced him for Iron Man 2 and all the movies beyond. Not exactly the same as your question, but Sean Connery turned down the role of Gandalf for $30 million plus 15% of profits, which would have got him about $450 million. He said he didn't understand the script. So next time he was offered a script he didn't understand, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he took it, ended up so disappointed in the product that he retired from acting. You cannot pash. Late to the party, but Stuart Townsend was the original casting for Aragorn in the LOTR movies, but during pre-production and rehearsals he refused to practice things like swordplay, horse riding, action choreography, etc. Always responding, "You'll get it on the day." Peter Jackson decided he couldn't work with him. Viggo is brought in literally on the first day of shooting and the rest is history. Thank Viggo's son Alex for pushing him to take the role. His son is a huge LOTR fan and thought it would be cool for his dad to play Aragorn. He pretty much did it for his son. My ex-girlfriend was on a soap but as a regular extra. They were starting to give her speaking roles, got her SAG card, etc. Once she got her SAG, she demanded more speaking roles or she was leaving. She never got another role after that. Lacey Chabert left Family Guy and was replaced by Mila Kunis, who has made bank between new episodes and syndication. Leo DiCaprio almost missed out on Titanic because he didn't read for parts. James Cameron said something along the lines of, "Okay. Thanks for coming in." Leo responded along the lines of, "Wait. If I don't read, I don't get the part?" And Cameron explained he'd be working on the film in post for several years after Leo was done filming and he wasn't going to take the risk of casting the wrong person just because he was popular. Not quite your question, but I found it interesting. Leo's career could have been derailed if he didn't immediately humble himself to a screen chemistry read with Kate. Several of the actors of MASH left early to make it big. None of them really did. Ja Rule was in the first Fast and Furious movie. I like how Ludacris was in the second one as basically a cameo and then went on to become a major part in the franchise. He also became one of the world's best hackers at some point without explanation. Brian Dunkelman was co-host of Season 1 of American Idol with Seacrest, and then quit. Over the years it has toggled back and forth between whether or not he would have been fired anyway, but in at least one interview he admitted to quitting and then almost becoming suicidal over it. Geez, BuzzFeed isn't even trying to hide it anymore. Edit. Holy shit, my snark is gilded. Thanks guys. David Caruso leaving NYPD Blue, and Shelley Long leaving Cheers are good examples. They even did an inside joke on the show while at a drive-in movie. Cliff and Norm make note that one of the original actresses in the Godzilla films was replaced by another female actress, and left halfway through the series. "I don't understand," wonders Woody. "Why would an actress leave right in the middle of a successful series?" Simpsons 2, where Moe's becomes Cheers. "My waitress quit. She wanted to become a movie star. I think she'd have a better career staying here." Chuck Woolery left Wheel of Fortune only to see Pat Sajak host it for over 40 years. Katie Holmes took a pass on The Dark Knight to go be in a movie called Mad Money, and like you, I haven't seen it either. This kind of happened to Topher Grace from that 70s show. He left to be in Spider-Man 3, and I don't think he was what was wrong with the movie. He's popped up here and there and has steady work, but he definitely didn't launch into stardom. That being said, that latter seasons of that 70s show were just plain bad. And he looks almost identical to the way he looked 20 years ago now that he's in that 90s show. Dude seems to have made out just fine. Katie Holmes dropping out of Batman to do a bomb called Mad Money. With Nicole Kidman. The ex-wives of Tom Cruise. Edit. Nicole Kidman was not in Mad Money. My mistake. Katie Holmes turned down a lead in Orange is the New Black. Katie Holmes turned down the role of Buffy in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series. Married Tom Cruise turned down Buffy turned down OITNB. Maybe she's just a habitual bad decision maker. She just saved up all her good decision-making skills to pull off leaving Tom Cruise without the Church of Scientology disappearing her. To that point, her father is a lawyer. When she and Tom hooked up, he handled all the negotiation around her prenup, because he could already see the inevitability train. It made her divorce an absolute breeze for her. Thank goodness for Dad, in this case. At least someone in that mess was acting in her best interests. Remember when Katherine Heigl was nominated for an Emmy, and she withdrew herself from the nominees because she felt the writing hadn't been good enough? I feel like her career never recovered from that. She also went on to say she didn't like the film Knocked Up which she starred in. I think talking shit about projects you're involved in is a really good way to burn your bridges. I don't know anything about that world, but if the writing is terrible and you still act your way to an Emmy nomination, isn't that just further support for your acting ability? Why not accept the nomination, potentially win the award, and then use that as bargaining leverage for the change you want? This is all bizarre to me. Do what Halle Berry did. Become the very first person to show up to accept your Razzie for Worst Actress in person, with a speech. Just own it, there's dignity in that. Like half the cast of Downton Abbey. I nominate Harrison Ford as the opposite. He hated Star Wars and the character of Han Solo. Thought it was all pop fantasy junk which, to be fair, it kinda is. But it made him very rich and kept him famous. So he put on the vest and got back into the pilot seat despite strongly disliking the franchise and his character. He even consented to come back for the sequel trilogy despite his age and the fact that he could never spend the money, simply because Star Wars was so big it kept his name in headlines. I hear he hates Han but he loves being Indiana Jones. That's weird, an archaeologist is basically just a smuggler with credentials. As troubling as they are, Harrison did us a solid in the sequel trilogy. He carried Episode 7.